Alright guys, so here's another fanfiction series that I've been kind of working in and out of, and always kind of retooling and kind of working on it. Now, before I go any further, this does not run in continuity with anything of the Astra series, the Astra and the Next Generation series that I've been working on. So it doesn't run any continuity with that. So this is kind of its own thing. It's a little darker, actually. It's a little more darker than the Astra stuff, which, yeah, it has its dark moments, but still, it's more of a has kind of the feel of the original shows that they're based off of. So, you got that. So, this is a little more darker. Basically what it is, you can see from the title, Lord Marco. Now, Lord Marco was a series I kind of had a thought of. You see, this is what happens when you watch a little too much Star Wars, and then you go watch, Star vs. the Forces of Evil. Because weird shit starts to form in your head. So this idea is basically centered around Marco in a future where he is on Mewni with Star, and it's them as adults. However, they don't have kids yet because in this continuity, Marco is forbidden to marry Star because he is human. He is not a true human. So he cannot, due to human law, he cannot marry Star. But he doesn't want to leave her. He cares too much for her. So he basically gets together with Moon and River and says, look, I still, I love your daughter, and I want to be with her, so what can we do? So, at this point, so, what happens is that Moon and River make Marco into an enforcer for the Human Empire. They basically make him Darth Vader. Yeah, that's kind of the whole thing, was that Marco's kind of a Darth Vader-type character. That's the whole thing of this story, is that he's become, like, a Darth Vader-type character. So, they give him this armor. They give him this armor called the Armor of Eclipsa, which was a suit of armor forged from dark magic from Eclipsa. And it's only been used by people who have been punished. It was used by Eclipsa when she was queen, and she imbued it with her dark magic. And what it is a suit of armor that's been used. It hasn't been used in a long time because it's very painful for the wearer. It eventually wears down the user of the armor. And the only way to stop that pain is as long as there is a conflict. As long as there is conflict and strife and war in Mewni, then the armor will not, eventually drive the person in pain just to total levels of insanity and eventually kill them. That's the whole thing, is that you have to keep the armor on and there has to be war. If there is no war, there is no conflict, there is nothing, then the armor will eventually fill you with such pain, it'll drive you mad and then eventually kill you. Luckily for Marco, there is some disputes going on in this time frame. So in this continuity, there are several things happening in the events when Marco puts on the Armor of Eclipsa. One thing is that Mewni is on the verge of civil war. There's this new group that is full of these new humans who don't believe that the Queen and the Butterfly royal family do not have the Empire's best interest, and they want to overthrow it and put in a new power. They basically want to they want to put in a new power in charge. Think of it like when the communists rolled in and the Tsar got rolled out in a body bag. It's kind of that situation. So, Mewni is kind of on the verge of civil war with this new group that wants to do away with the old ways, and you've also got there's still monsters running around. There's roving bands of monsters and human thieves, and the other dimensions, and you've also got Tom, who's taken the throne from the demon realm, and now he's declaring war on Mewni. So Mewni's kind of just fighting everybody off. They are the Roman Empire, and they're just fighting to keep what's theirs. They're just fighting everybody right now, and very little allies at this point. So Marco puts on the armor, and he gets the title real quick of the Fist of Mewni. He is much like Darth Vader, he is the embodiment of human power. He is a total destroyer on the battlefield. He just annihilates everything in his path. Now, he doesn't have anything like the Force, but the armor he wears does give him some connection to magic. Also, the armor feeds off of others' anger. It feeds on their anger, their death, bloodlust, rage, war is what gives this armor fuel. Armor and blood and just total. As long as the enemy's still attacking, then the armor is still good, and the armor is incredibly hard to pierce. However, it does put Marco in a lot of pain, even though, if he's not on the battlefield, then that armor is digging into his flesh, and it's draining him of his energy. Marco also has a sword that comes along with it called the Eclipsa Blade, which is a weapon that just it's very much like like Frostmourne or Soul Edge. It's very much like Arthas's not Soul Edge, that's Nightmare. It's very much like Frostmourne, where it not only kills someone, it devours and entraps their soul into the sword, giving him a little more of a power boost. A weapon that was forged by Eclipsa after she wiped out an entire Mewni village and trapped their souls to forge the blade in the metal. So, there you go. Now, Marco is a undisputed he is an undisputed, just the enforcer of Mewni. When they have a serious situation, Marco comes in and just wipes the floor with everybody. But he does have his own battalion called the Bastards. The Bastards are pretty much like the French Foreign Legion, who are amalgam of crooks and Mewni crooks and thieves, and war-weary soldiers, as well as monsters. There are monsters who have they've been arrested or they want to flee. Because the monsters in this continuity are very much like divvied up into tribes and all these kind of factions that are also fighting each other because in this continuity Ludo's dead, so there's no real leader among the monsters, and they're all just kind of like war chiefs killing each other as well as fighting Mewni. So everyone's it's one big it's like one big interdimensional bar brawl. So several monsters are in there, several other creatures from across the multiverse are a part of Marco's Bastards. And they are out there fighting their sworn loyalty to him, and they are fiercely loyal to Marco, who has become kind of a force to be reckoned with, and yet he is still loyal to his soldiers. Marco also is a very savage warrior. He will do anything to get the job done. Much like Vader, he will do anything and everything to get the job done. He will burn down entire Mewni villages. He will he will do some fucked up shit for the Empire, for the Mewni Kingdom. And trust me, he does. He burns down he burns down schools, villages, a lot of stuff. And the endgame is, as long as I get to be with Star, it's all fine. And Star at this point is kind of rising into the throne. She's very close to being, the next queen, but she's still worried about Marco and this position he's now been put in. But she understands that, yeah, he kind of needs, there needs to be some kind of order. So kind of imagine if Vader and the Emperor were kind of in some form of relationship. I'm so glad I put that mental image in your head. You're welcome. But yeah, among other things, Marco does have his... I would have it that Marco does have his kind of supporting cast with him, in that he is... he does have Buff Frog with him. That's kind of like one of his top lieutenants. And he also has this Mewni soldier named Galba. Galba was this character I created who was like very much based off of Pelion from the Star Wars EU. He's a very old soldier. He's been forced out of retirement to be pretty much quintessentially Marco's handler. But he does have a lot of respect for Marco, and even though he is not Mewni, Galba does see that even though he's not Mewni, he does have a lot of love for the kingdom, especially the royal family, especially the daughter. So he does have a lot of respect for him. Now, you're probably wondering, can Marco take the armor off? He can. But he can't take it on for long, because now that he's connected with it, he can't live without it for long periods. So the longest he can go for is like a day before he has to put the armor. He has to force himself back into the armor. But yeah, the major thing with this is that it is it's a very dark story, and Marco, I would have it that Marco is very brutal in this, where he is just, that whole scene in episode in A New Hope where Vader's crushing a guy's throat. Yeah, that'd be Marco crushing a human soldier's throat. But yeah, there you go, guys. Like I said, a little darker and a little more violent than the Astra series. So there you go. So anyway, just comment below. Let me know, what do you guys think of the Lord Marco series? Do you guys like it? Do you guys hate it? Just comment below. Let me know. And once again, yeah, hope you all enjoyed this. This is, like I said, a lot darker than the other one. So there you go. Anyway, once again, hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you guys later.